Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is your brother Nafis Abu Zaid. And alhamdulillah, we want to take our time tonight, bi'idhnillah, to address the following matter. We have heard, inshallah ta'ala, from multiple people via email, via text, or via inbox, that people have asked that we, by the permission of Allah Jalla wa Ala, here in the night shift, can we please cease with the letters, cease with the videos, cease with mentioning the names of the individuals, because these particular videos or this particular show is causing more division and is causing more problems. So tonight, inshallah ta'ala, brothers and sisters, we're going to take the time out to do what we don't normally do, but hear the plea of one of the commoners. Listen to those who are on the outside, those who are not a part of the warring faction, those who are not part of all parties involved, the back and forth between the different students, between the different callers, between different people. So we're going to hear it from the outside, a third party. Inshallah, we're going to read and hear their plea. And we ask that this particular talk, inshallah ta'ala, or address, that everyone have an open mind and open ears, and most importantly, especially and specifically, our brothers who are warring with one another, alhamdulillah, for these amongst the different students. Tayyib. The commoner, he doesn't mention his name. However, he writes a beautiful letter where he said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters who have respect, or who have respect for this Salafi dawah. He said, for many years we have been hearing the words like Salafiyya, Sunnah, Manhaj, even words such as Jah wa Ta'dil, and words such as the ulama by many callers in the West. Unfortunately, behind these terms, there have been a sinister agenda by some da'is or callers to foster a taqleed, blind following within the Salafi communities. This taqleed has been centered around specific scholars who the aforementioned da'is have utilized to keep those who see and speak out about their wrongdoing in check. Without doubt, there is always need for the scholars who are the inheritors of the prophets. Likewise, it is impossible to understand the religion without scholarly guidance. However, the phenomenon of the Sheikh said this and the Sheikh said that has been presented as answers instead of Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam have said. Therefore, instead of making the statements of the scholars as an extension or a branch of the evidence, they have made the evidence or the evidences a branch of what the scholars have said. Their methods mirrors that of the methods of the hardcore madhahibs, those who strictly hold on to a madhab. When one asks for evidences, they are told the following: do you know better than the sheikh and the noble elders? Are you a scholar? So-and-so a scholar is the flag bearer of Jah wa Ta'dil, disparagement and appraisal. The noble brothers have been given dawah for years. The scholars recommend these brothers. You have no right to ask for evidence, you just have to follow. All these futile arguments are utilized in order to steer the question away from seeking evidences. Afterwards, shackles are placed upon their minds to the point that they are blind, deaf, and speechless towards clear guidance and evidence. Trinidad and Tobago is no different from Barbados, the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, and other Western countries. This concept of blind loyalty to particular scholars and personalities has been planted, nurtured, and harvested into ultimate havoc, chaos, and recklessness, to the point that there are youths who involve themselves in speaking about the Muslims who don't have the necessary knowledge to live their lives as functional Muslims. He says, why can't I ask for evidence? He said, oh, those who respect Salafiyya reflect and ask. Why can't I ask for evidences? Isn't the way of the Salaf based on Allah, the Messenger and the companion said, Why do I have to follow statements which clearly contradict the reality? The heart, which is the receptacle of the intellect, must be used to ponder and submit to verses in the Book of Allah and the Hadith and the Sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As for the statements of the scholars or noble brothers, they are weighed according to the two sources of revelations and can be either accepted or rejected. An argument may follow when the specific scholars, who they return to, appraise and disparage individuals. It must be accepted without question. My dear brothers and sisters, this is a false notion that has been used to secure control of many worldwide. Although I have written in a treatise of mine regarding this matter, I would like to reiterate that not all jarh disparagements are accepted, even if they are the Imams of the Sunnah. For this reason, Imam Ibn Kathir said in his books, The Summary of the Science of Hadith, on page 220, and some of them have spoken about other than him, and it was taken into account because of what they had between them from known animosity. And we have mentioned examples of this. The speech of Muhammad ibn Ishaq about Imam Malik, and likewise the speech of Malik regarding him. And as Suhail has spoken extensively about this, and likewise the speech of Imam al-Nasa'i regarding Ahmed ibn Salih al-Misri, when the latter prevented him from sitting in his classes. Lastly, I would like the Muslims to reflect upon the following statement, which I told my former colleague before he climbed on the actual bandwagon. If you think that Sheikh Rabi' is free from error regarding Jarh wa Ta'dil, this means that you perceive him to be greater than the scholars of the Salaf in the areas from the likes of Imam Shu'bah ibn Hajjaj. Hence, how could great Imams of Jarh wa Ta'dil from the Salaf such as Shu'bah, Malik, and even Imam Nasa'i be considered as mistaken regarding some individuals, yet stating that Sheikh Rabi' was mistaken intent is tantamount to vilifying Salafiyya and the Salafi methodology. These are questions that each individual who truly loves and respects Salafiyya and his knowledge-based principles have to ask themselves. May Allah Ta'ala bring to us the freedom of following evidence and principles and remove us from the prison of taqleed and blind partisanship. Brothers and sisters, I know this is not one of those type of nights where we're mentioning juicy names, reputable people, or where it seems as we're going that back and forth. But truly, inside this talk and this address, is something for all of us to reflect and ponder upon. By the permission of Allah Jalla wa Ala, we have to go back to the sources and start weighing people towards those sources. As Sheikh Muqbil, rahmatullah ta'ala alayhi, he used to train his students upon attaching themselves to the evidences more so than attaching themselves to personalities. And this is really important because we all like those who we learn from, who we benefit from, but it's not feasible now for us to not ask people questions. We have a right to ask people questions, and we have a right to ask for their proof. This is something that Allah Jalla wa Ala and His Messenger has made clear, and this is basic understanding. So inshallah ta'ala, we have to also take in mind that we do not blind follow any scholars. That we do not blind follow. As Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah, he mentioned that the yardstick for following and adhering to someone in Islam is based upon that person's adherence to Quran and Sunnah. And if that person's adherence to Quran and Sunnah is 100%, then our following that particular person is going to be 100% based on his adherence to the Quran and the Sunnah. And if it be his adherence is only 70%, then our following that particular person is going to be based on his adherence to the Quran and Sunnah 70%. It seems like statements like this get lost in translation. Many of us don't ponder on this. So we get caught up in personalities. And last but not least, we get caught up in what we call a big tug of war between how we feel for individuals such as our teachers, people who taught us, people who did telelinks. This is something that we get caught up in. But we have to ask ourselves, no one should be free from being weighed according to these sources. Kitab wa Sunnah Fahm Salaf. Last but not least, we see that the brothers, it seems as if the tweets won't stop. It seems as if the name calling won't stop. It seems as if the allegations won't stop. And it seems as if no one is willing to go back to any scholars. No one is willing to sit down with anyone. And this is what we're seeing, brothers and sisters. Every time we look, we're saying, okay, leave the commoners out of it. Stop making the videos. Won't you brothers stop the fitna? Won't you brothers stop bringing the division? And we hear that. And we understand that. But in reality, brothers and sisters, we are not the problem. We are trying to bring the people, inshallah ta'ala, that we believe are in some way, or if not, majority of the times, is the problem. Because if they're not resorting to Twitter and they contact the particular brother in question, instead of having us hate one another, and go back to the scholars. And we want to address some other questions. Many people say, the people that we have interviewed on our video or on our night show, whatever, they say that we are known to hold these views of many of these particular individuals. And we're also in agreement. We're bashing brothers. We're speaking ill of brothers. And we're not addressing people if they slander or they did this or did that. Brothers and sisters, this isn't the case. Wallahi, this isn't the case. And we're going to say this now. The issue of our beloved brother Shadeed Muhammad, Hafidhullah, may Allah preserve him, and also may Allah correct his affairs. If there's no one is free from making any mistakes. But like we said before, and we're going to say it now, our brother Shadeed Muhammad, we believe in the origin, is that this particular brother has not stepped out of the fold of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Nor is it for our other brothers, like Hassan, Somali, nor Abu Khadij or anyone else, to take him out of the fold of Ahlus Sunnah. That's not their place. So we say, if he has mistakes, and no doubt, we're not saying he doesn't, then do it the proper way. Take the brother by the hand, go to the scholars, sit down with this particular brother, sit down with the particular issues that you have, and hash them out with the scholars. This is what we're saying. Hash them out. Stop making people on Twitter say bad and negative things towards anybody. Calling Shadeed a racist. Name calling. As Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah said, there's nothing good in name calling. Calling people despicable names. Making people hate people. Calling them deviants. Why nobody want to go back? Nobody want to go back to actually to the scholars. And if you commoners really worrying about this being a fitna or a house of fitna or causing problems, then why are you at the doors of these people who are giving you knowledge and begging and demanding them? Why didn't you go back to the scholars? Because wallahi, brothers and sisters, if it's truly about Islam, then these brothers would have done the proper steps. They haven't taken those proper steps. They haven't taken those proper steps. And this is the point. We have a group of individuals, and no matter whoever they may be, whether you want to accuse Shadeed of, being cocky or arrogant, whether you want to accuse him of making statements that seem or doing things that are questionable, then let's look at our other brothers as well. What are they doing? Why are they not taking this issue back? Why are they seem to be going rogue? Why are they seem to just go back and forth on Twitter? Why is they not seem to do this or seem to do that? Why nobody can't sit at the table? Since we start these videos, all I keep hearing is Hassan Somali is inviting anyone to come up, but he's not coming nowhere else. It goes two ways. I don't hear no phone call. Many people can have people numbers. They don't contact nobody. I don't hear no one sitting down with nobody. I don't hear no one trying to even hash anything out. All I hear is people blotting people's eyes out and calling people racist and calling people, calling towards, staying away from the scholars, defaming each other, talking bad of each other. That's all I see. Despicable behavior. And is attached to those who say, brothers and sisters, we are endorsed by the scholars. Truly, tell me and tell us all that the scholars sanction this actions and the behavior of these particular brothers. That's what you hear in this. That's what you hear in this talk, in this letter. We have to start using our minds. We have to start using our minds, brothers and sisters. This show is not, wallahi, the interviews are not for bashing. Our interviews that we do are not for bashing. The purpose for the interviews, and some interviews, there have been some personal problems that have been hashed out. But the purpose for the interviews, what we started was so that we can connect you people to other students and other people that's out here so that they can know that there are many students here in the West. That was the purpose. That wasn't the purpose, was not back and forth. And we have continued to contact the brothers. We have continued to uphold their honor. We have continued to call them and ask them to come down. They don't even have to do an interview if they don't want to. And we have contacted them to try to meet somewhere in between. But we're seeing that this is not the case, nor is this their agenda. They don't want rectification. They have labeled us fools, and that we do not argue nor debate with fools, and that they are using athars to apply and make applicable towards us, that we are foolish, and that we are fame seekers, and that we are looking to be known. But yet and still, they have not answered any one of the questions that are legitimate, and they're still resorting to Twitter. So when are you people? When are we, all of us, if we're really tired, when are we going to act off the ayat in the Quran? If two groups of Muslims are fighting, when are we going to try to stop the fight first and foremost? As Sheikh Uthaymeen mentioned in his tafsir, first stop the fight. That's the first form. Then the second islah is that now we find out who is the correct position, and then we work towards them to get, to stop those who are in the incorrect position. And this is what we need to understand. Let's stop doing this, inshallah. Our show is not for fitna. And we invite anyone to come down. And we also invite other people from amongst the du'ats. If you see that these particular brothers are doing something that is wrong, and you have knowledge that's forthwith or forthcoming, that these particular brothers are not going by the advice of the scholars, are not doing it, then stop leaving us in the dark. Start speaking up. Don't come to the night show to speak up. You don't have to come here. We don't have to interview you. But if you feel as though what they're doing is wrong and you can give a voice to this, then give a voice to it. Advise them. Don't sit here and leave us and say, that these two brothers down there, they're saying this and saying that. They're lay people. They're causing, creating a problem. But at the same time, you're saying stuff under your breath or in secret huddles or in secret conversations, but you won't say nothing to Hassan Somali. You won't say nothing to any of these brothers. You won't say nothing to Abu Khadija. You won't say nothing to what? You won't say nothing to Anwar Wright or Jamil Finch. You won't say nothing to this. But you will sit there and talk and hush. Come on, that's not going to get it. And when we say, for example, why we're not returning back to the scholars, then I'm going to be honest with you. We are returning back to the scholars. We're returning back to their words. But are we going to sit there and say, let's get on a plane and go all the way overseas and contact a scholar whom we witness that our beloved brothers, their Ahlul Hadith, they have went all the way out there and got an audience, 3 years, Abu Isa Khalifa and Ahlul Hadith with Hassan Somali in front of Sheikh Rabia himself, and to come right back from all the way over there to here, and then them brothers to still be divided, and the refutation still be online, and it's still not to be addressed. Something is wrong here. And if they're not going to listen to somebody over there, what makes you think that now we need to keep doing that same remedy? That's not going to help. The remedy that's going to help is us being fed up, us demanding proof, us demanding evidence, and stop personality worshiping, and stop worshiping people because of who we think they are, and stop allowing the wood to go over our ears. If you see someone speaking ill of your brother, say something. Somebody call him Munir out of his name, and you sitting there saying, okay, Munir is a Hizbi, right? No evidence. Okay, if you say he's a Hizbi Somali, if you say he's a Hizbi, any of you brothers at Abu Khadija, then tell me, what is the proof? That's all we're waiting for. Not, he said this, he went to this lecture, he spoke with these people. No, what is the proof? Are scholars endorsing your actions? This is what we want to know. So as to answer the questions for people who've been inboxing us, that they want our videos to stop, that this form of type of way we're doing it is women-like and feminine-like, we're going to tell you that, inshallah ta'ala, until all of this fitna cease, we're not going to stop. Till all of the fitna cease, until the Twitters, the tweets, they stop, until this name-calling stop, until these brothers with this sick agenda, they stop, until the scholars really are involved, and the people are really dealing with it in a brotherly way, and a student way, then we'll stop. And until that happens, we're not going to stop. We're going to continue, brothers, to expose false principles and to attack things, not attack, but to address things that are not according to what we know to be from Quran and Sunnah. And no, we don't have to be a student, and no, we don't have to be a scholar, and no, we don't have to be someone more knowledgeable. All we have to do is bring the proof and evidence for what we say. That's all. We don't disregard somebody saying something because you can take, you take the haqq from anyone. You can take the haqq from anyone. This is how we understand Islam. And Sheikh Al-Albani made that clear. We take the haqq from anyone. Henceforth, even Shaitan, look what he said. He told Abu Hurairah something truthful. The Prophet ﷺ did not tell him not to take it, but he said no, that he's a liar, but he still took it. He still told him in that case he was correct. Brothers and sisters, please do not engage in this stuff. Stop spreading and stop placing on your different social media sites these refutations of both. And I'm being honest. I don't care if you link me in, because this is what we're doing. I'm going to link him in with Shadid. I'm going to link him in with Muhammad. I'm going to link him in with this. First of all, you don't have no scholars telling you to do any of this stuff. You got brothers telling you to do this. People that you're looking up to. And stop saying the scholars endorse them. You don't see on Sheikh Rabi's account any cross-out eyes. You don't see no snippets of clips. You don't see on any of the scholars' account this type of stuff. What type of behavior is this? Who blots out eyes? Who does that? And who takes little clips and who does that? Nobody. So we're asking the brothers and sisters, if you don't see that, stop taking it and stop passing it and retweeting and all that. Don't do that. You're just helping the division. We're not helping the division. You're saying stuff against your brother that Allah is going to hold you accountable for. Everybody got their bridges in the bunches about Shadid Muhammad, but nobody can't be man enough to address Shadid Muhammad and address him in a proper way and then take him by his hand. And let's go to a neutral scholar and let the scholar with the knowledge and the insight hear Shadid Muhammad's statements and let them deal with him. So that way, when that happens, he can be able to what? He can get the proper guidance if he's misguided, or he can do what? He can get the proper what? Criticism if he made a mistake, and they can correct him. But brothers and sisters, this back and forth, calling people deviants, it has to stop. Wallahi, it has to stop. You brothers running around calling masjids people deviants, and you have no shame. None. Where we get this type of concept from? And I hold Hassan Somali accountable for this. Because he's up there listening to people and we're calling concepts over and over. People calling people deviants. Somali, say something. He's not saying nothing. Abu Khadija, say something. They're not saying nothing. All they calling us is food. Cassius Khan, Mustafa George, all of them. Jamil Finch, retweeting. Abu Hassan Malik, retweeting. That's all we see. No one saying we need to stop the commoners from saying the statements that they made. You know why? Because I realize it's not the commoners that are saying this stuff. They getting it from you. And then you're going to be held accountable for leaving them astray on that type of understanding. It's not from Salafiyah, brothers and sisters. Islam is not like that. It's about brotherhood. And the best brotherhood, trust me, is those who are upon the haqq. That's the best brotherhood. And if we all claim to have the truth, then why are we fighting and bickering? Then why are we separated? Why are we divided? Yes, for those who say Salafiyah divides, the haqq divides from batil. The haqq doesn't divide from truth. You don't see two people claiming the truth. If that was the case, Allah would have never made this an issue with the Jews and the Christians. You say, you got nothing to stand upon, you got to stand, but y'all both study the same book. This wouldn't have been an aid. This wouldn't have been a fault. This wouldn't have been anything that Allah would have brought up to the Christians and the Jews had that been the case. Because if you're really standing upon the truth, then why you can't hash it out? Brothers and sisters, the Shadid Muhammad thing again, y'all can refer back. Contact the brother. Stop making statements that this brother is a deviant. Contact him. But you afraid to contact him? You're afraid to talk to him? Huh? Don't say that he's arrogant. Hear his side of the story. And then go back to the ulama. Do that. And demand it of those brothers. Tell them we tired of y'all tweets. We tired of y'all name calling. We tired of y'all clip snipping. This ain't no refutation. It's a bad form of refutation. Stop this stuff. Nation of Islam and Tahir Wyatt. For 22 years, we all been waiting for this big hat foot to drop on what is Tahir Wyatt's crime. And we can't find not one. Now they gotta dig through straws and say Farrakhan praised him and then all of this stuff. Now he must be with Farrakhan and belief in creed. What are y'all about? We gotta stop this stuff. But you don't say nothing about Sheikh Rabi going to the Sufis. You don't say nothing about any of the scholars and those who participate with groups who are known to be Hizbi organizations or groups that have been. You don't say nothing about these scholars. You make statements and you make excuses for them because they have the ulama. Stop this stuff and stop putting in the minds. Hasa Somali and you brothers, stop putting in the minds of the people that brothers are calling to racism. This can be a slander. This can truly be a slander. If you truly want Shadeed to be guided, if you think he's misguided and you believe he's misguided, then won't you go about the proper way? Help your brother. Don't sit there and keep throwing him off. Helping. That's our stance. And we talk to Shadeed Muhammad about the mission of Allah. And like I said, may Allah rectify all of our fears. Alhamdulillah, the brother was kind enough to come and give us his side. Something that we didn't know. And anything that he said that were personal towards anyone, then that don't reflect our views. That don't mean that we hold those views. And many people say, then why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you hold up people when he said what he said? He was relating his story. He has been oppressed. He said what he said. That don't mean that we hold those views. But we do not take him out of the fold of Islam because that's not our job. And we do not take him out of the fold of Salafiyah because we don't know that from him. Now, if he have mistakes, then the brothers need to do that. Like we did not take Hassa Somali out of the fold of Islam. We did not take Hassa Somali out of the fold of Salafiyah. Even though I believe in my heart, and many of you do, that Somali and Abu Khadija and these brothers, they have done things and they have said things that if you were to look at them and weigh them, and I'm not a scholar, you would think, wallahi, sinister is just the least of it. You would think that it's borderline haddadiyah. You would think that it's real extremism. You would think that it's real extremism. You would think that it's partisanship. You would think that it's hizbiyah, that I only deal with my group and those who support me. You would think that. Wallahi, you would think that. And you don't need a scholarly report for this. You can just see it in the tweets. You can see it in the mindset of the people that learn from them and what they teach. You can see it in their classes. And you can see it the way that they are. They don't greet people. And when they do greet people, it's only because they know that you're with them or you agree with them. Not other than that. This is what we witnessed from the people, man. This is what we witnessed, man. We had a telelink here with Sheikh Uthman As-Salami from Hafidhullah about the Ahmadiyya. Here we had a man, and he told us to maintain ties with these brothers. And I go up, literally, I go up to Hassa Somali, and a brother witnessed this, and I shake his hand, and I said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa hibbaka fillah. I love you for the sake of Allah. This is what I said to this man. Alhamdulillah, may he had a bad day. But he didn't reply to the salams. Maybe he had a bad day. Nor did he reply to the fact that I said, I love you for the sake of Allah. He went straight to me and said, I said to him that we had a telelink with Sheikh Uthman As-Salami, and he told us to maintain ties. Right in Germantown, he said to me, the Sheikh is from the minor scholars. That was his first statement. The second statement he said to me, stay away from those who are unclear. This is what he said to me. Nothing else. Not ahlan wa sahlan. Alhamdulillah, the Sheikh, you know, mashallah, let's keep this, let's sit down, let's talk, let's have tea. None of this stuff. And you brothers keep saying the brother is starting problems. Wallahi, it ain't us, brothers and sisters. Start opening your eyes. Start demanding more from these people. And stop listening to them, because right now, Islam and the scholars are being belittled. All you see is interfactions. And we got more major problems than that that's facing us. We have major problems. We have problems with riots, with racism, true racism, police brutality, all of this type of stuff. This is different social ills that we can't even not begin to even turn our attention towards them, because the Salafis, those who are saying they Salafis, are fighting one another. And this become entertainment for people. And nobody's sitting there saying, you know what, I'm going to demand more. All I'm going to do is talk bad about the brothers who get the videos, bad about the brothers who give platforms to Hizbis, bad about the brothers who do this, do that. No, don't speak bad about anyone. Matter of fact, demand more. Whatever you advising us, advise them. The Prophet ﷺ, I'm going to leave this on this note. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned in an authentic hadith that he said that the best form or the best deed that brings about the most and reward, min daraja, from siyam, min as-siyam wa salat, wal hajj, wa sadaqah. He said that the best that brings about, the best deed that you can do that brings about the most reward, even better than salat, fasting, and giving charity. He said that is al-asluhu dhata, aslu bayna, dhat al-bayn. He said, bringing rectification between two people. Bringing rectification. Wallahi, this should be the primary goal. Either you bring rectification by correcting the wrong. If someone is mistaken, we correct that wrong and we aid our brothers. Or we bring rectification, bringing them together, inshallah ta'ala, and trying to do something right. So yes, we are trying to bring rectification because we want this stuff to stop. And we want the lay people to stop running around calling people deviants and stop saying bad stuff about one another and start loving each other if we claim to all follow the truth. Brothers and sisters, this is what I wanted to bring. Please reflect on some of the stuff that was mentioned here. Inshallah ta'ala. Please, brothers and sisters. This is what we wanted to bring up, inshallah. As far as many statements like we free ourselves from many statements that were made. And alhamdulillah, do not link us with that. Don't link us with any bad statements that were said on our show with any of that. Okay? But you can now link us to the fact that we are calling against partisanship, Hizbiyah, blind following, believing that only certain scholars are at the turning point and that they are the flag bearers of this and that, so we don't need to go to them. No, we don't believe in that. Just as Sheikh Rabi'a said about himself, he's just a small criticizer, and he get it right sometimes and he get it wrong. And he does not, and he said this about himself, he does not tolerate people being extremists towards him. So we're going to uphold the Sheikh and stick to his words and not do that. Okay? These brothers and sisters, man, we have to stop this stuff, man. Inshallah ta'ala, we're going to continue with the interviews and the videos, inshallah. And as you see, our brother Isa is not with us today, but he definitely spread his salams. And this was just basically what we wanted to bring. And inshallah ta'ala, again, the library is open. Please come down. If you have any concern, inboxes. Do not spread around bad stuff about us. And for those who want to know, my name is Nafis Abu Zaid. I never got kicked out of Egypt. I only been in Egypt only 1 month. That is a slander against me. I have proof to show that I only been there. And for those who have been there with me, I have not gotten any altercations by the permission of Allah Jalla wa Ala. I never came off or promote myself as this major student that studied for a real long time. I never did that. There's certain things the law blessed me with, and I keep that to myself and hope that I'm sincere in those things and that He accept them from me. But as far as, people slander and stuff, that's not going to happen. And last but not least, our brother Jamil Finch, we advise you again. I know this is agenda, but stop. If you did not feel the need to address our beloved brother questions that he had in his 26 pages, and you did not address that, then you can stop trying to link people with Shadid in that sense. And you know Shadid. And you can call Shadid. And you can talk to Shadid because you used to what? Y'all used to borrow stuff from each other. Y'all was friends. So stop this stuff and jumping on a bandwagon, retweeting stuff. Be men. Stop this stuff. Be men. And keep the commoners out of it. Because that's what y'all doing. Y'all making people choose sides. Y'all should stop doing that, inshallah. For those who want to know, we teach a lot of different topics here at it's not the House of Amr, but we here at the Mektaba. We have Dali classes. You can look on our pages. We have Arabic every day, Medina Book 1. Alhamdulillah, we teach it every day at 2 o'clock besides Friday. We also have many other classes, personal classes, and we have other classes that we have. So this is some of the questions that the people want to ask, inshallah. Allah musta'an, naam, inshallah. Make dua. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.